So today has been a pretty good day. It's National Day in Sweden today. And I see now the clock is running. It wasn't running for a while. The clock was standing still. National Day in Sweden. I have been, well, I haven't really been celebrating that too much, but I've done a few, I've done a little bit of birding today, which was nice in the morning. I already did a live post on my own profile, and I posted that also here on the channel, so on the Facebook page, so you can check that out. And I talked a little bit about the National Day of Sweden and also the birding that I've started doing. I'm going to do daily observation in the parks nearby and invite people to come along and to do that with me. And yeah, maybe we'll get to see some birds again. So they lighten up the quarantine now, so we're allowed to go out for recreation for an hour, and as long as we keep the social distancing, etc. I also resumed my running, so today I did about 10 kilometers in total, and I'm at 60 kilometers for the week. That's pretty amazing. I could hardly believe that was the case. So one thing that I noticed when I came back from the run, I heard a Rufous-collared Sparrow. I haven't heard one for 3 months. That is like Peru's most common bird. You see it everywhere. But it's strangely enough, it's not around exactly where I'm living. Now this one was about 500 meters from my house, so it's close. I'll see if I can get it on the list from the apartment, the lockdown list. It's still 500 meters too far away, but it's still nice to have this common bird seen for the first time in 3 months. Oh, I didn't see it. I heard it only. It was singing. But anyway, it's kind of nice. It's actually so common that we have this standard joke here with the colibri expeditions, and I say to people that that bird that you see over there, we actually call it -1. So every time you lift your binoculars to look at it, you have to take one bird off your life list. And that's how it works. So you have to keep on looking at it so you get the bird up again. And there was one guy who was saying he was calling it the unmentionable at that, because you don't want to admit that you're looking at a Rufous-collared Sparrow. So at the end of the trip, the bird was being called Voldemort, just like in Harry Potter. That was pretty funny. Anyway, so I was telling you about the National Day on my previous vlog today, and there's a filmer called Arne Sucksdorff. There's a link on I'm going to put it on the notes to this also. There's a link to a really great short by Arne Sucksdorff that has been promoted now in Sweden, and it's available today and tomorrow, I think, for viewing. And it's a documentary about 15 minutes long, and it's about Stockholm in the mid 1940s. It's really, really excellent, black and white, and there's no dialogue. There's some music, and but there's also some bird's eye view of over Stockholm. And so a friend of mine, he was mentioning also another very good film of Arne Sucksdorff that you should look out, and also premiered in the film festivals, and that's I think it's called Children of the Copacabana. It was filmed in Brazil, and that was in the 60s. And so Svante, a friend from Sweden, was recommending not to forget about that one. It was a really great film as well. Sucksdorff later became a very prominent nature filmer, and he lived in Brazil. He was promoting nature and conservation in the Pantanal, and he had a Brazilian wife when he was living there, and so he spent his last days in Brazil. And he has this beautiful book about the Pantanal that I got when I was still a teenager and very much into into nature. I wanted to learn more about nature. I got his book and I saw these wonderful pictures from the Pantanal, and that was really one of my best experiences when I went to the Pantanal for the first time on my first South America trip in that was like in 1986, I think, a long time ago. That was the first country I visited, and so I really, really wanted to go to the Pantanal. At that time, I didn't really get that far into the Pantanal, just on the edges. So it was only like some six years ago or so that I did Pantanal for the first time, sort of into the sort of more into the interior to be able to see hyacinth macaws and the jaguars and all that. Fantastic trip. And if you want to do that trip in the future sometime, we have a trip that we promote both on Seven Wonders Birders and birding, and also on colibri expeditions. And the best place to see mammals, the Amazonian mammals, are best seen outside of the Amazon, best seen in the Pantanal or the Orinoco basin in the Llanos, which is kind of hard to get to now when Venezuela is sort of not a destination that too many people are going to. So the running goes really well. I've done 10 kilometers today. I've done 60 for the last 7 days. That's 10 more than I thought I was going to do. I'll see how much I do tomorrow. Maybe I'll take a rest day, so I stay at 50 kilometers, or I'll do a little bit. Tomorrow I'm not allowed to go out. It's still quarantine. It's still the Sundays are the day we're not allowed to go out at all. So we're not allowed to go out and doing physical exercise on the Sundays. So we'll be here on the treadmill. Today also there's a Facebook group, relatively new, and I haven't really been that active on it, but I think I should be a little bit more. And it's birders in Lima, and people that really sort of want to get together and birdwatch together, make meetings, outings, and so forth. And they had today their first Zoom meeting. It was kind of cool to see people's faces for the first time. And they're called Club de Observadores de Aves de Lima, so COA, and they have a Facebook group also in Spanish, of course, but nevertheless. So that's more or less what I had to report today. They were telling me actually in that group, there's one bird in Lima that I have not seen, the red-crested someone is calling me right now. I can't have people calling me while I'm doing this. Anyway, so red-crested cardinal has been seen it's an introduced bird. The red-crested cardinal is usually like in Bolivia, down in the Chaco areas. It's also all over Argentina, etc. It's a cage bird that's been released, and the population in Lima has expanded to such an extent that it's now a Peruvian bird. It's actually countable. It's several generations, and it's one of the birds that I have still not seen here in Lima, and it occurs in the same area where I usually go running, very close to the strip, the Malecon, which is the strip in Miraflores, where on the bluff of Miraflores that looks out over the Pacific Ocean, and there's some parks in that area, and there you can see this Rufous-crested red-crested cardinal. So I'll see. Maybe I'll get to. That's almost like the outer limit, the 3-kilometer limit that I'm allowed to get to. So on my runs. So I'll see. Maybe I can see one these coming days. Anyway, that's all I had to say for now. I did upload the other post also, so you can check that out, the previous post. And have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow at around between noon and 1 o'clock on my Facebook profile, and then again around the same time here on the page Have a great evening, everyone, or good morning if you're in India or New Zealand or Australia.